Okay, we're live streaming. How many witnesses?
2, Your Honor. conversation suggests that might be ready.
Please rise. 34
Have a seat. I hit spotlight for everyone and it should have. And it didn't, so I got one. People versus Mark Shaw.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ryan Elsey, appearing for the people. My P number is 81329.
B6943, appearing on behalf of Mr. Shaw, who is present.
We ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and call your first witness.
Your Honor, just one preliminary issue pursuant to MCL 766.11B. I'm moving to admit People's Proposed Exhibit 1, which is a copy of the medical examiner's report in this case.
That'd be for exam purposes only.
It's admitted for exam purposes only.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And may I publish just briefly
Go ahead.
in relevant part? People's Exhibit 1 indicates that a Dr. Nicole Kroom, last name spelled C-R-O-O-M, an assistant medical examiner for Wayne County, performed an autopsy on Stafford Segree. That's first name S-T-A-F-F-O-R-D, last name S-E-G-R-E-E. The autopsy was performed on June 30th, 2023. In relevant part, the report indicates that there was a perforating gunshot wound to the neck with an entrance gunshot wound on the neck and an exit gunshot wound on the neck. The report also indicates the presence of stippling around the wound. In addition, the report indicates that the opinion of the medical examiner is that death was caused by a gunshot wound to the neck and the manner of death is homicide.
Admitted for exam purposes only. Any other preliminary matters?
No, Your Honor. With that, the people would call Sergeant Ryan McCormick as our first witness.
Come on up, Sergeant. You raise your right hand, solemnly swear from testimony you'll give in this matter will be the true self of God. Have a seat. You tell it from my screen. Oh, I'm the camera. All right, well. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Ryan McCormick, RyanMCCORMICK.
And sir, where are you currently employed?
I'm a sergeant with Van Buren Township Police,
And how long have you been so employed?
17 years.
And I want to take you back to June 29th of this year. On that particular day, did you go to the location of 10850 Belleville Road?
I did.
And is that location in Van Buren Township?
It is.
And is that location in the county of Wayne?
Yes.
And at approximately what time did you go to that location?
Just before 1 p.m.
And what was your purpose for going to that location?
We had a dispatch call there to check the status of a truck.
And what is at that particular location, just as a general matter?
I'm sorry?
As a general matter, what's at that location?
It's a plaza. It's a shopping plaza. So there's a mixture of businesses there.
Okay, and what particular area of the plaza did you go to when you arrived?
The original call came in for the west side, so it would be behind the actual business plaza.
Okay, and what is behind the business plaza?
Just parking lot and the dumpsters.
Okay, and when you went to that area, what did you see when you were there?
I observed a semi truck and then a truck just further to the north.
Okay, and the semi truck that you observed, was there anything notable that you observed in connection with that truck?
As I parked, I noticed glass on the ground outside of the passenger side of the semi truck.
Okay, now did you have an opportunity to view the windows on both the passenger and the driver's side of the truck?
I did.
And were those windows intact?
They were not.
Okay. And can you describe the condition of the windows that you saw?
Both windows were broken with glass on the outside of the vehicle on both sides.
Okay, and did you have the opportunity to see whether anyone was inside of the cab of the truck?
I could see somebody inside the cab of the truck, yes.
And can you describe that individual's condition?
He was leaning over toward his right, which would be the center of the cab. He was in the driver's seat of the vehicle.
Okay, and was that individual responsive?
Not to verbal response, no.
Okay, and did you have an opportunity to take a closer look at that individual at some point?
I did. I was able to unlock the passenger door.
And when you took a closer look at the individual, what did you observe?
Based on his condition and how he was seated and the appearance of his arm, he appeared deceased.
Okay, and was there anything notable about his appearance physically that you saw?
I observed a amount of blood just below his chin and neck area on his upper chest on his shirt, and some on the floor around him as well.
Okay, and were you able to make any effort to identify that individual?
I was, yes.
And how did you identify that individual?
By his driver's license.
And what was the name that appeared on his driver's license?
Stafford Segree.
Okay. Now, did you happen to look around the area outside of the truck?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe in the area outside of the truck?
Glass, some other debris, nothing specific.
Now, the glass that you observed, where was that located?
On both sides of the vehicle, the
Okay.
driver's side and the passenger side, yes.
And outside of the truck, did you make any other observations?
I did, yes.
And what did you observe, if anything, outside of the truck in addition?
On the driver's side, there was a shell casing.
And did you happen to observe what caliber of shell casing that was?
I did not look at it that closely, no.
Okay. I am holding what has been marked as people's proposed exhibits 2, 3, and 4. May I approach, Your Honor? Sergeant McCormick, I'm handing you what's been marked as people's proposed exhibits 2, 3, and 4. Can you briefly describe what exhibit 2 is?
Exhibit 2 is the semi-truck that I observed upon my arrival.
And is that a photo of the truck?
That is a photo of the truck, yes.
And does that photo fairly and accurately depict what you saw on scene back on June 29th?
Yes.
And how about exhibit 3? What does that depict?
Exhibit 3 is the shell casing.
Okay, and again, does that fairly and accurately depict what you observed back on June 29th?
Yes.
And again, just for the record, where was that shell casing located?
Outside the driver's door of the vehicle.
Okay, and as far as exhibit 4 goes, what does exhibit 4 show?
Exhibit 4 is Mr. Segree in the condition that I observed him in upon my arrival.
And again, does what's depicted in exhibit 4 fairly and accurately depict his condition when you saw him back on June 29th?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd move to admit people's proposed exhibits 2, 3, and 4.
No objection.
For a minute.
And Your Honor, may I publish? And Sergeant, I've got up on the screen People's Exhibit 2. In terms of the truck, was there any sort of distinctive characteristic in terms of markings on the truck that you observed?
Distinctive? Nothing specifically distinctive other than the company name.
Okay, and what was that company name?
BLVD Moving.
And do you see in Exhibit 2 the placard that's marked A toward the lower right-hand corner?
Yes.
Photo? And what does that placard signify?
That is where the shell casing was located.
Okay, and then moving to Exhibit 3, is that just a close-up of that area?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and then in terms of Exhibit 4, again, does that show the victim as you saw him?
That is the victim in the condition when I arrived, yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, in terms of BLVD Moving, once you had that information about the company, did you do any sort of follow-up investigation?
I did.
And what did you do?
Using the DOT number on the tractor, I was able to make contact with the company out of California.
Okay, and when you made contact with the company in California, did you speak to any individual in particular?
I was finally transferred to the owner of the company after speaking to 2 others.
Okay, and what was that individual's name?
His name was I don't remember the last name offhand without referring my report, but I believe his first name was David.
Okay, would it help to refresh your recollection to refer to your report?
It would.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yeah.
I'm handing you a copy of your report, Sergeant. Please take a look and let me know if and when your recollection is refreshed. Having looked at your report, is your recollection refreshed as to the name of the owner of the company?
Yes, David Fimbres.
Okay, and for the record, is that spelled Fimbres?
It is.
And without getting into anything specific that Mr. Fimbres said, were you able to obtain any relevant material to further the investigation from him?
I was.
And what material was that?
He was able to provide video clips as well as tell me when the truck was parked at the location.
Okay, and when you were with the truck, did you observe any sort of video system on that truck?
Not initially, no.
Okay, eventually did you?
Yes, after I spoke with the owner who advised the truck had it.
Okay, and where was the camera located?
It's on the windshield of the truck, center, mounted high.
Okay, is that like a dash cam
Yes.
video?
Yes.
Okay. And how was it that you were able to obtain video footage from that particular dash camera?
The owner actually provided our department access to his system.
Okay, and can you just describe just briefly how that video is stored, the video that you accessed?
I believe it's cloud-based. So as long as you log in from any, you can log in from any type of provider and view it as long as you have the password to that specific profile.
Okay, and so were you given login information to
I was.
that particular system? And once you were equipped with that login information, what did you do?
I was able to view the files that the owner had already flagged.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'm holding a disc that's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 5. That is a certified copy of regularly conducted activity that includes video that was pulled from the Boulevard moving system. And I'm moving to admit that pursuant to Michigan Rule of Evidence 902 subsection 11.
No objection.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And may I publish? It's going to be about 12 minutes of video. And Your Honor, just for the record, according to the certification that's contained in Exhibit 5, it indicates that the records which were accessed by the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office and Van Buren Township Police Department include the following 59 individual video files from the dash cam of T16 from the date of June 28th, 2023 in 1 minute increments from 9:35 p.m. Central Daylight Time to 10:33 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And I'm just going to play a handful of the relevant ones. And for the record, I'm going to start with a video file that's labeled as 942. Sorry, and Sergeant, this particular area that's shown in this first file, does this area look familiar to you?
It does.
And what is this particular area?
This is the Belleville Square Plaza directly behind Planet Fitness.
Okay. And I'm now going to publish a file that's labeled as 943. And I'm going to pause that at around the 7-second mark. Are you able to see the license plate of the truck?
Not on this view.
Not on this view,
No.
okay. I'll move on for now. If you were to perhaps step down and come to my computer and watch it on this particular screen, I just would like the license plate confirmed for the record.
Well, let me, just for purposes of exam, counsel, if I'm sure you've watched the video, do you acknowledge just for purposes of exam only that there's a license plate that's visible?
Yes.
Okay. So
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. With that, I'm going to move on to another clip that is labeled as 944. Then I'm going to move on to a clip that's labeled as 945. Sorry, I just lost my video, just closed for a second. Okay, I'm going to now publish a video labeled 946. And I'm going to now publish a video labeled 947. I'm sorry, I'm going to skip to 948. And I'm now going to publish the video labeled 949. And I'm now going to publish a video labeled 950. And I'm now going to skip to a video labeled 1018. now gonna publish video labeled 1020. I'm now going to publish a video labeled 1021. And Sergeant, you see where the truck was positioned in that last video?
Yes.
Where is that relative to the positioning of the truck when you observed it the next day?
The truck appeared to never move past that point.
Okay, and again, now publishing video labeled 1021. And I'm now going to publish video labeled 1022. And I'm now going to publish the video labeled 1023. Now going to publish the video labeled 1024. And Sergeant, when you were at the scene, did you happen to look inside of the dumpster that was in front of the truck?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe inside the dumpster?
That was a black towel that was placed in the dumpster.
And I'm now going to publish the video labeled 1025, which is the second to last one that I will show. And finally, I will publish the video labeled 1026. Okay, and Sergeant, after you obtained the video, did you participate in any other notable events surrounding the investigation?
I did.
Where did the investigation take you next?
To the intersection of Belleville and Michigan Avenue.
Okay, and that particular intersection, what's the proximity of that to the scene where you initially found the truck?
Approximately 2.5 miles, maybe
Okay.
3 to the north.
And at around what time did you get to that intersection at Belleville in Michigan?
I would say it was after 3:30 p.m.
Okay, and just as a general matter, what's located at that intersection?
There's a gas station on the southeast corner. There's McDonald's on the northwest corner, a bank, and then a Walmart Plaza with a bank and the Tim Hortons on the
Okay.
southwest.
And when you went to that intersection on June 29th, what, if anything, did you observe?
Our detectives were already on scene, so I already had a basis of what was there, but I observed the semi truck in the parking lot as I pulled it.
Okay, and what was your purpose, I guess, for going to that particular intersection?
To assist our detectives who are already there.
Okay, and when you got there, what did you see?
I observed the truck parked in the corner of the gas station parking
Okay,
lot.
and when you say the truck, which truck are you talking about?
The truck observed in the video
Okay,
that left the location on your last
okay,
video.
so not the stationary truck, but the other truck?
The other truck involved in the video, yes.
Okay, and I'm holding what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 6. Sergeant, does People's Proposed Exhibit 6 fairly and accurately depict the truck that you observed at Belleville and Michigan Avenue?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and that is your observation back on June 29th, is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit People's Proposed Exhibit 6.
No objection.
It's admitted.
And the particular license plate of that truck, is it fair to say that that's consistent with the license plate of the truck observed in the video?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what, if anything, happened when you were at the location of that truck at Belleville in Michigan?
Well, prior to my arrival, I was notified that the truck had an occupant inside of it.
Okay, and were you able to specifically, with your own eyes, see whether there was somebody inside the truck or around the truck?
Upon my arrival, yes.
Okay, and that particular individual, was that individual inside the truck at your arrival?
He was inside the truck in the driver's seat upon my arrival.
Okay, and at a certain point, did that individual emerge from the truck?
Yes,
And do you see that individual in court today?
I do.
And just for the record, could you describe what he's wearing now and point to him?
He is wearing the green Wayne County prisoner top and bottom, sitting next to the defense attorney, just behind you.
Thank you. And Your Honor, if the record could reflect the witnesses identify the defendant.
It's reflected.
And I'm holding what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 7. Is People's Proposed Exhibit 7 a still image from some body worn camera footage?
It is.
And what does that still image show us?
It shows the occupant in the truck the day that he was taken into custody.
Okay, and does that fairly and accurately depict what you saw when you were present for his arrest?
It does.
Your Honor, I move to admit People's Proposed Exhibit 7.
No objection.
It's admitted.
And was there anything significant about his attire when you observed him in connection with the arrest?
It appeared to be the same attire that I observed in the video.
And Your Honor, just for the record, I'm going to publish to the court People's Exhibits 6 and 7. Just showing the court Exhibit 6, and then Exhibit 7. And again, Exhibit 7, this is a body worn camera from approximately what time?
Between 3:30 and 4 p.m. that same day.
June 29th?
The date that we were notified, yes, the date of the
Okay.
call.
And that's the same date you went to the scene of the shooting as
Yes.
well?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, just stop right there.
Okay. And for the record, that's the video labeled 942.
Officer, you were shown a video, I believe this was actually the first video you were shown. You recall seeing this video?
Yes,
And you're looking at that video now,
yes.
correct? And I believe what is being shown is there's a truck, the truck, I guess, that you observed the alleged victim in.
That video is the victim's truck driving.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I believe there's another vehicle there. It appears to be a police vehicle. Is that a police vehicle?
That is one of our police vehicles, yes.
Okay. And do you know who was on patrol or who that vehicle, the officer that was in that vehicle at that particular time?
Not offhand.
Was it ever determined how that vehicle was present throughout this entire time, or did that vehicle leave, or how would we be able to find out who was in that vehicle? Do you know?
Through the shift log of the night shift, which would have started the night of that, the video is labeled, the shift log would have who was in what assigned vehicle.
Okay. What shift is that? I believe it's got to be around 9 or 10 o'clock.
Yeah, so that would be the night shift, which started at 1800 hours that evening.
That would be called the what shift?
The night shift, just
Night
the
shift.
night shift.
And you said it started at 1800 hours?
Started at 1800 hours, yes.
And what's the name of the log?
I'm sorry?
What's the name of the log?
The shift log, the
The shift
assignment
log.
log, activity log.
I would just want to put on the record that I would provided that, I would like that produced in my discovery. If you have access to it, or I can get my investigator. I would like to know
Yeah, we'll certainly look into
who
it for you.
that was.
I have a question. I don't know if your department does it, you know, periodically, are you sure that there's somebody in it?
Yes.
Okay. Because I know periodically people, you know, and here does it, but like some departments put squad cars places and.
I could speak more to that if needed.
What?
That vehicle left
At what time?
approximately 9:48.
At 9:48?
Yes.
Do you know who the officer was that was in that vehicle?
I don't know, without checking, I don't know.
And how do you know when the vehicle left?
Because that vehicle is seen leaving on that truck's camera northbound in the parking lot approximately that time.
So on one of the.
That was on one of the-
10-second
Yes.
That we didn't see.
Yes.
You see it leaving.
Yes.
Okay, we can proceed. I don't need that anymore. Just a few questions, officer. Was there a gun recovered from the alleged, the complaining witness in this case?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
From the
you.
complaining witness in this case, from his vehicle, from his truck?
From the victim?
Yes.
I believe there was.
And do you recall what type of a firearm that was?
I don't know without reading a report, no.
So the firearm exhibit 10 that you were shown, that was you're saying that this was the gun that was recovered from the defendant's truck, is that correct?
I wasn't shown that exhibit.
Yeah, we didn't get into that.
Okay, okay. You didn't get, okay. But you did recover a firearm from the victim's truck, but you don't know what type of firearm it was?
I did not. I was told that there was.
Okay.
I don't have any information about that.
Can you give me the exhibit you showed? Now, officer, at some point you made an arrest and you had identified that the person that was in this vehicle was also the person that was in the video that was shown going back and forth between the trucks. Do you recall that?
I did not state that.
You did not say that?
I didn't say that.
You said that the person appeared to have the same clothing.
Yes,
Okay. Well, you don't know whether or not that person was.
I didn't say it was him.
Okay, I understand. Let me ask you this then. The person that you recovered, that was arrested, was there any blood or any evidence of blood or anything on his clothing? Did you observe that?
Not that I observed, but I only had a brief contact with him.
No further questions.
Anything else for this witness?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
You can step
Thank
down.
you.
Any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, at this time, the people called Detective Mike Long.
Come on up, Detective. Can you raise your right hand, solemnly swear from testimony you'll give in this matter will be the true self of God?
I do.
Have a seat.
Sir, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Michael Long, Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Long, L-O-N-G.
And sir, what do you do for a living?
I'm a detective with Van Buren Police Department,
And how long have you been doing that?
just over 20 years.
And in your background, have you been involved in homicide investigations previously?
I have
Approximately how many?
maybe 4 over the last 6 years.
And through your experience in homicide investigations, have you ever encountered the term stippling?
Yes,
And what is stippling?
it's basically a tattooing effect when there's it's a close range gunshot.
Okay, so I'm sorry, you said it,
I think that when they describe it, it's like tattooing, the effect of it
okay.
on the
And
skin.
What produces stippling?
A close range gunshot, if the muzzle of the gun is held too close.
Okay. And I've got published on the screen here what's been admitted as People's Exhibit 2.
Yes.
Does that look familiar to you?
Yes,
Do you recall what caliber that casing was?
9mm.
Okay. And On June 29th of this year, did you have the opportunity to go to the area of Belleville and Michigan Avenue?
I did.
And when you were at that area, did you participate in a search or a processing of a vehicle?
I did.
And what vehicle was it that you searched and processed?
It was the defendant's semi-truck.
Okay, and you also were present for the arrest, is that correct?
Correct.
And just for the record, do you see the individual who was arrested on that particular day in court here?
I do.
And could you point to him and describe what he's
I
wearing?
was wearing the green Wayne County attire.
Okay, thank you. If the record could reflect that the witness has identified the defendant. And Detective Long, I want to show you some photos that I've marked as people's proposed exhibits 8, 9, and 10. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yep.
And sir, taking a look at those photos, do those fairly and accurately depict some of the items that you observed when you were searching the truck back on June 29th of 2023?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I move to admit people's proposed exhibits 8 through 10.
I guess I can ask a question. I think it needs to be fleshed out. What truck?
And just for clarification of the record, this is the truck that you searched at Belleville and Michigan Avenue.
That is correct.
This is not the truck that had a victim inside. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And did you see a particular person emerge from this truck that you searched that we're talking about?
Yes,
And who is that
the
person?
defendant.
Okay.
No objection.
To admit for example purposes.
And I'm just going to put on the screen Exhibit 8. What does Exhibit 8 show us?
They call them slides or sandals. That was recovered from the inside of the truck.
Okay. And when you saw the defendant, did he have anything on his feet at the time he was arrested?
Yes,
Do you remember what he had on his feet?
a pair of these.
Okay. I just want to show you, I guess, Exhibit 7. What do you see on his feet in Exhibit 7?
Just the socks.
Okay. Did you, I guess, personally see him in those sandals depicted in Exhibit 8 at some point?
When we extricated him from the truck, he had sandals on and one fell off.
Okay. Exhibit 9, what does that show us?
Phone cord with an adapter.
Okay. And do you recall where that was, where you observed that inside the truck?
I do.
Where was that?
It was plugged into the wall, which is between the sleeper area and the driver's seat.
Okay. And what does Exhibit 10 show us?
The gun found inside the truck.
Okay. And what type of gun was that?
Looks to be a Glock model.
And do you recall the caliber of casing that's utilized by that particular type of gun?
9mm.
Okay. Did you look into the registration status of that particular weapon?
I don't recall if I did or not.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Quinn?
Just a quick question. Do you recall whether or not there was a firearm also recovered from the alleged victim's vehicle as well?
Yes,
And was that also a 9mm? Or do you recall the caliber?
I don't recall.
Do you know anything about that gun?
I do not.
Okay. And then the gun that you recovered, were there ever ballistics tests conducted on that gun?
I'm sorry, repeat the
Were
question.
there ever ballistics tests conducted on that gun?
It was sent to the Michigan State Police, so there's no lab reports back yet.
You have not received the
No.
lab, you have submitted them, but there's
Yes.
no lab reports back.
Do you know what, the lab time is right now for that?
Months. I mean, several months on guns.
For your benefit, I know.
I'm guessing an average of 4 months, 3 to 4 months.
Okay, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And was there any DNA testing done on the scene?
Are you talking
At
the
the
first
crime
scene?
scene?
The crime scene? I was not present for that, but I'm guessing there was.
There was?
Yes,
Are you still waiting the lab results for that as well?
yes.
Okay.
And that was processed by the state police.
No further questions.
Anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank
You
you.
can step down.
Thank you.
Motion, counsel.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move for the defendant to be bound over as charged in the complaint and warrant. I believe that by a probable cause standard, there is evidence to conclude that he murdered the victim with premeditation. As the court will recall, although this might not be entirely clear from the choppy video that we have in, unfortunately, just 1 minute increments, the victim was found with 1 gunshot wound to the neck in the seat of his truck. According to the medical examiner's report, the gunshot wound had an entrance wound to the front of the neck, an exit wound to the back of the neck. The wound track is from front to back and from down to up. So the evidence is consistent with the defendant shooting the victim at close range in the neck while he was seated in the truck. The video evidence shows what appears to be some sort of discussion that may have been heated. You can see at one point I'll call him the defendant, but I'll explain more later why we believe it's obviously the defendant who's actually depicted in the video. But you can see the defendant have some interaction with with the victim, obviously in the truck. He approaches the truck, goes back to his truck at several points. And then the key part is at around 10:18, you can see the defendant run toward the victim's truck, appearing to clutch something on the right side of his hip. Now it's at that point that he appears to approach the driver's side of the truck, the same side notably that there is a 9mm shell casing later recovered from, and then appears to run back to his truck, comes back wearing a pair of black gloves, and then appears to rummage around the inside of the compartment before leaving the truck, depositing the towel in the dumpster for unknown reasons, and walking away with what appears to be a white phone charger. Significantly, the very next day, the defendant is arrested. He's driving the same truck that's depicted in that video, identified based on the license plate. He's wearing the same clothing that appears to be depicted in the video, down to the sandals. And he's found with a firearm that is, at the very least, a caliber consistent with the single shell casing found outside of the truck. After the time in which the defendant approaches the truck and appears to get inside and rummage around it, the truck doesn't move at all. And you can see in certain segments of the video before that the victim, his phone has a reflection on the screen suggesting he's alive, and then suddenly that phone reflection stops and there's nothing in there other than the defendant rummaging around. So based on all of that, Your Honor, I believe there's probable cause to believe that he killed the victim and did so with premeditation and deliberation.
Mr. Quinn?
Judge, at this point, I would object to a bond over. I think the case may have been brought a little bit too premature, Judge. One, I'm saying that we don't have ballistics. I don't even know if the gun they recovered from the defendant, or what they allege was the defendant's firearm, whether it was ever shot. There was testimony that there was a gun that the alleged victim in this case also had. So although the report does indicate by a gunshot wound, we don't know what gunshot, who shot who, or who shot what. There's no DNA evidence. There's no DNA evidence that was presented that the defendant's prints or anything of that nature were on the gun. I believe they're just saying, if I'm understanding them correctly, is that they identified Mr. Shaw's vehicle being at the same location. There was some interaction between the two, and then Mr. Shaw left. I find what also is interesting, if they arrest him the next day and he has the same clothes on and there's absolutely no blood, or they don't discuss any type of blood on his clothing or anything of that nature. And it appeared from the video that there was a large amount of blood on the alleged victim in this case. They're also saying that there was some type of contact, if you go with the prosecutor's theory, between Mr. Shaw and this individual after the incident, but there was no blood or anything that they observed on his body or his clothing. Judge, at this point, I do not believe the people have met their standard, and I would object to any bind over at this point. They can always reissue it.
I think that there's probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause to believe that this defendant committed that crime. I'm going to bind the defendant over. The arraignment on the information will take place 1 week from today on July the 31st at 9 a.m. Bond denied.
Thank you so much.